Let's see. Yeah, let's get that editing going. Let's see. Those are those people that I notify. What in the world? I'm hearing glass breaking, sirens hollering. Let's see. YouTube.com. All right. So let me just clear some of these notifications. No. It's always the civil bot in FNet News, which I hate. And then Ian Lur. I don't see anything super important. Some neat ASCII in there by Zen, if you're into Zen ASCII, which I am. What do we got right here? All right. Oh, I see the chats are coming through. So we got Aztec up in here, and then Bemis. And then Aztec's suggestion is to add sneaky cameo appearance characters for excellent chatters and editors. Who's to say that that hasn't already been done there, Aztec? Who is to say? I wouldn't say that shit, because there's like every book we do is chock full of crazy references to IRC shit. And this book in particular just has a plethora of song references in it. It really is kind of like an obscene number of references, mostly to rock music, to tell you the truth. It's like kind of a punk rock book when all is said and done. Wait, hold on. Let me fucking put this comment here before anybody gets it. Yes, beat you to the punch. Is Carl the Carl? He's the only Carl in this story. So let's get down to it. This is Lemon Maybe and the Electric Lady by Zak Zyz. Chapter 76, Carl motherfucking Swanson. God, I hope. Carl Swanson has been a patron for a long time, man. Like, long may he reign. Whew. Carl motherfucking Swanson. So this is chapter 76. That disappearance shit. 5.6, 7:49 a.m. and it's taking place at the Pits, which as we know is in Hell's Kitchen. Freeze, Carl. Carl, okay, so let's make sure that Carl is not the POV for this chapter, which would necessitate a rewrite. Carl blinks. His head is resting uncomfortably on a bunch of The ratty red sleeping bag from the fuck machine has been draped over him. Thing's seen a lot of use this week. The bag, not the machine. Not too much of the trade around. The bag, not the machine. There's not much of the trade around lately. Something about the city collapsing must be scary. Oh, hold on. Okay, so it's in Lemon's voice so far, which is good. I love that. That's such a succinct comment there. So Spethiwa says, this is Carl Mason. He has the powerful ability to vanish from wherever he is and to reappear in his bathroom at will. What a power. What a powerhouse. Yeah, I don't want to get accused of power creep in this novel, but I mean, I think we can all agree that's the best power in the book. Splort? Giving Spathy a point, just because I think I'm going to use that description somewhere else. It's a good joke. I like it's kind of elegant. All right, there we go. Let's take one more look at this paragraph. I'm trying to take editing a little bit slower today after feedback that we were just kind of rushing through shit the last couple of days there. Oh, hold on. Is that Decimator chatting? Oh no, it's Butthole. Oh, they're still trying to get that jogger thing going. Oh, shout outs to Skip Donahue right there for hosting us. That's always fun. I know what you're thinking, Lemon says. I'm guessing it's some flavor of where the fuck am I? But I swear to God, if you pull that disappearance shit one more time, I'm gonna have to punch your fucking face inside out. Yeah. But I swear to God. Alright, God is capitalized. I swear to God, if you pull that fucking disappearance... Yeah. I know what you're thinking, Lemon says. Guessing it's some flavor of where the fuck am I? But I swear to God, if you pull that disappearance shit one more time, I'm gonna punch your fucking face inside out. It's so goddamn annoying. Yeah, the second part of that doesn't. Yeah. But I swear to God, if you pull that fucking... yeah, hold on. Yeah, let's just do commas. So, stylistically there, you could use two M dashes to indicate that if you pull that disappearance shit one more time, is like a conditional interjection. And I think that's not like an actual term or whatever, but... Because it's like an aside or an interjection, so you can do it with M dashes, but I just don't think M dashes work that well as a punctuation mark. I'm not a fan. So I don't think that that's actually an error message, but there's like some diversity among wireless carriers. So let me see. All circuits busy message. Okay. All circuits are busy. Okay. Yeah, I think what sounds better. He's tried to phone her 40 fucking times, but he keeps getting a message that says all circuits are unavailable. All circuits are busy. The circuit is unavailable. I like that. That's a little better. Lemon's plenty heated. Lemon's heated. Shirley made him promise he'd come home on time today before she let him leave for work. Not just a promise, it was practically a vow. All right, so here we go. Lemon's not even sure he can get out of Manhattan at this point. Lemon's not even sure he can get out of Manhattan at this point. Earlier, he swiped batteries from the smoke detector and put them in the little yellow emergency radio. Earlier, he swiped batteries from the smoke detector to power the little yellow emergency radio he keeps under the bar. The news squawking out of it ain't good. It sounds like there's a full-scale war It sounds like they're waging a full-scale war in Chinatown. There's a war going on in Chinatown. Yeah, that's a little better. Buildings collapsing, cops getting slain right and left. Fires burning out of control. I like that. Yeah, right and left kind of breaks up the tenor of the cadence of the sentence. Buildings collapsing, cops getting slain, fires burning out of control. Shirley must be worried sick, and even if that's not Carl Mason's fault, he's a reasonable proxy. And even if that ain't Carl Mason's fault, he's a reasonable proxy. I have to, Carl begins. Don't you fucking dare. You're going nowhere until you explain this shit. Carl gives Lemon a hopeless... Carl gives Lemon a, you don't understand, look, but Lemon is implacable. Carl is frozen. Nah, let's just take that out. I think implacable is enough. We don't need to describe that more. Yeah, man. You owe us an explanation. Let's take out man. It does sound more teenage to be like, yeah, man. You know, what's a fucking explanation? Yeah, Carl. You owe us a fucking explanation. You're supposed to be on our side. Yeah, okay, so here is where we get into Carl's POV. And the point of view shift is like a slow poison. You can see it starts here. The back of his skull aches just from the sound of Maybe's voice. We can maybe get away from that. That's like a slight divergence of POV. But then we start doing these lines. Here, how, hold on. Okay, yeah, it's just a couple of lines where we go into third person omniscient right here, and that's got a... That gets cut. About 8 a.m. You didn't sleep long. What's happening to you, Carl? Sarah's voice is softer than the others. She's sitting on a bar stool. Her expression somewhere between pity and despair. We we can we can just leave that unsaid. Like we don't have to explain to the reader. I think just in like where we say Sierra's voice is softer than the others, it's the contrast with the other people there. So we kind of don't have to beat the reader over the head with like, oh, she's got this look, a mixture of pity and despair. You know, like we can. You think smartass should be hyphenated? It looks better that it looks better hyphenated. I'm gonna take it. Thank you, Spathy Wall. Shit, you're almost at 280. God, what are you gonna do when you hit 300? And Logic's not here either. He's solidifying that lead. I did not think that it would be anywhere close, but it's actually, you know, like we got a bunch of time left. He could actually catch up with you, man. It's just like the slowest and most thrilling race of all time. I don't think 8 a.m. should be spelled out. Yeah. I like about 8 better than 8 a.m. Yeah, it's almost 8. Because you would say, it's weird, right? So this is a very like strange point in English, where saying it's almost 8 is like, that's about 8. I think you would say about if it was like 8:02. That's about 8. But if it was like 7:55, you'd be like, it's almost 8. All right. Almost 8. Carl sits up. Let's see. Less literally. Okay, cool. So there, Carl rises to his feet and backs up against the bar. His eyes are darting around the room. What time is it? Carl asks. Yeah, I didn't see that one. So, yeah, anytime that I don't say and edit and like consider it and so forth, I missed it because it's just as I'm getting older, my ability to see things is fucking decreasing. Yeah, some mornings I wake up and I just my eyes like won't focus as well as they will other mornings. I still see details in the distance really well, and it's just like macular degeneration. Even though thanks to lasers, my vision's pretty good. The muscles of my eyes are like, fuck focusing on this. You know what I mean? But yeah, I also think that's a good edit, and that you deserve a point for it. But yeah, it's worth repeating, so don't feel bad at all. And wait, did it? It's not giving you points. So we gotta relink fucking YouTube again. God. Two-factor authentication is horseshit, man. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop. I like the sound effects, and maybe I'll just make like an image for people. But it's just really annoying to have to relink each of these services over and over and over again because they just stop sending the chats. So I don't know. We'll think of something to do. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Set up an audio indication for stream messages? No. I have. It's possible to do that, but it's very important not to do that. There's like a strong reason why I'm like looking straight ahead, and why the messages are over here on the side, and I have to glance over to see them. I get like a small indication in my vision there. It would completely fuck up the flow of working on sentences. You can't do that. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, like it's a pretty difficult mind state that I'm trying to be in while this is going on there. It's especially in these passes where we're doing always significant rewriting just because the language needs work. So it's really something where, as good as the suggestions are, and as much as they improve the book, I have to take them in like these small doses. Otherwise, we won't get anything done. It sucks when Senpai doesn't notice me for 2 whole. Yeah, well, it's every service is doing the same thing. You just have to like relink the service. I think it loses its authentication key, or it's something with the way that Elgato is talking with the YouTube API, where they need to refresh their credentials. It seems like, but it happens with Twitch, and now this is the first time it's happened with YouTube. And it's not hard to like relink the service, but it's just annoying. Maybe we can set up an HTTP endpoint to receive points commands directly without the chats. Well, the problem there that we have is then we... actually, you can look at the Stream Deck. People are making like all kinds of... they're making neat shit for Stream Decks, and then you can release them as plugins. And I think it uses like a pretty simple language, but people are doing some pretty neat shit. Like I have a timer plug-in. You remember where we used to like look for the time every morning? That was until I just had like a stopwatch on one of the buttons of the Stream Deck, and there's like a counter and a button that starts recording and a button that starts. You can really do neat shit with them. I'm sure it can load an URL. Maybe. Yeah, it's we'll take a look at it later, but let's work on this chapter. Oh, speaking of which, I had neat fucking ideas for Rapazor, just like a few different rooms for Rapazor. So we're gonna do like a tarot stream soon in the future to use this new deck. But whilst I'm here, hold on, let me see. Can you see these new? No, you can barely see this at all. It's teeny tiny. But these new cards, oh, where they have black backs. Fucking loving this. They're perfect for the stream. Yeah, I'm happy that it was actually like, so we didn't do a monologue earlier today. And like a few real critical things happened yesterday. And one of them was that not too far from the studio where we do this, there was a shooting last night. And some guys rolled up in a car to a busy park where people were having a barbecue out on the sidewalk. And this is very common for people to barbecue over there. Everybody just like staked out positions on the sidewalk, and they set up like little portable grills, and they're having a good old time right outside of a playground. And some dudes swooped up to him in a white sedan, like theoretically a white sedan. I wouldn't trust anything at this point, but apparently 3 guys hopped out of that car and opened fire on people, and 3 people were pretty significantly wounded. And there was a 1-year-old baby boy sitting in a stroller. And this is not me. I'm not telling a joke. This is not part of the story. 1-year-old boy sitting in a stroller got shot in the stomach. And the kid died. And yeah, I can... yeah, I woke up this morning and I just saw, I was going for like a walk and clear my head. That was yesterday morning. I was going to get like some apple juice or something. And I just saw like the entire block over there is roped off, and you could see them like putting down the little placards for where each of the shell casings was. And yeah, I don't know, something about it because it's so close. People get shot in Brooklyn all the time, and you guys have people who know me have probably seen like the last murder. I keep witnessing murders for whatever fucking reason, and attempted murders. Maybe there's just so many going on that you can't avoid them. Maybe everybody's seen all these, but like there was the one at the Marcy Projects that I had video of, and then there was the where they were actually like shooting while I was on a bicycle, and then a guy got shot not too far from the studios and got shot in the face and was actually like bleeding out on his steps. And I went out there, and the mother of his 2 children was just wailing on the sidewalk. And I gotta tell you, like, those shootings, not the end of the world. And I'm realizing that, like, every time one of these things happens, I'm, like, bummed out for a day or two afterward, which seems kind of like an inadequate response, but it really just is, like, low-grade depression. And something about that kid getting blasted just fucking really touched me. I don't know why, but it's just weird to feel, like, that pain for somebody, like, I've never met. And I don't think it's like performative. Like I think I actually just really felt like something about it just being like a 1-year-old kid. The worst part about it was like he's strapped into the stroller, right? And it's just a 1-year-old too. So that kid has, that kid can't duck. That kid can't do fucking anything. He's like trapped and gets shot in the belly, and that's not a good way to die. Yeah, there was midstream on NURL, and yeah, man, just it's over some stupid shit too. I know, like the drug guys that hang out over there, they're always fucking fighting with each other over nothing, literally nothing, and always getting in some shit. And this is particularly shitty because I will tell you, this is just the beginning. They're ending enhanced unemployment. That's going to end at the end of July. And then you're going to have all these people who are broke. A lot of them who can't buy like the drugs they need to maintain because they don't have that money anymore. A lot of people who are worried about like feeding their families. A lot of people who don't get to do the things that keep them sane. right? There's a certain amount of like bread and circuses that need to fucking happen for a city of 10 million people who are so very different to hold together. And the money pipe has to turn off. You know, they can't just fucking pay people to do nothing forever without majorly changing our system. And now you have police officers resigning in droves. Just, I think it was like 124 of them resigned last weekend or something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I think a lot of them are just like, fuck this, I'm out. So yesterday I wound up talking to about 3 different detectives that came to see me at some point throughout the day. Yeah, it's about to get fucking real in New York City. So that was on my mind, and some like relationship shit that's on my mind, and just like a lot of it weighing down on me. So I'll tell you one thing that was fortunate was that I had ordered that tarot deck, and it actually it showed up, but they had thrown it into the wrong houses. They threw it into the wrong spot. I like noticed it, and I'm like, that's my fucking package at the wrong house. And it was like a steel door where it had a hole about this big right there, where people could throw mail through, and the package had been tossed in, and it was like way too far for me to fit my arm through and get in there. And I didn't want to like fucking bother that neighbor, and I knew that they wouldn't be home until later that night. And I was like, man, that fucking tarot deck would cheer me up. Because it does, you know, like part of the reason why I have like so much crazy shit around my apartment is that acquiring things makes me temporarily happy. Kind of always has. So what I wound up doing was I have like this extendable grabber arm, and it's something that you would use for like picking fruit or pulling light bulbs or something like that. It's these 2 suction cups, and there's this big long tension thing that you can work with a spring. So I wound up using my grabber arm to like fish into this neighbor's into past their door. People are like looking at me as I'm going off on the street, and I managed to do it. It was actually like quite difficult to fish that out with the grabber arm, but I managed to like grab a hold of this box and like scurry away with it and everything without talking to the neighbor. So that was like one good thing that happened yesterday, but it doesn't really balance out a kid getting shot in the fucking belly. So yeah, yesterday I went and drank a bunch of beers and ate just terrible food and so forth, and went to bed at like 6 o'clock. And today I feel a little bit better. Shout outs to beer. Vitamin B really does make it like a little bit easier to make it through the fucking day sometimes. But you can't do that all the time. Anyhow, so that's if I seemed like a little bit morose yesterday, and I think it happened after editing. Yeah, I could just tell something was fucking wrong. I was like anxious last night, the night before, and couldn't hardly sleep. And I woke up in the morning feeling like kind of untoward. And then when I finished editing, and we didn't edit for long, I went out onto the street, and I was like, oh, no. And all I could do was like walk over there and talk to the news people and be like, how many? And they're like, one, a 1-year-old baby. I'm like, fuck. And the other part of it is just the beginning. And it's just not just this one baby. Like about 2 hours later, a 12-year-old kid sitting on his fucking front porch got shot. I don't know what that was all about. You know, like it seems unrelated according to the NYPD. But yeah, this is, I don't know, maybe not the time to defund the police, to tell you the truth. But the police response to this one, nobody likes it when a baby gets fucking shot. So huge police response to this one. The streets were just crawling with these dudes. But nobody talked. Yeah, nobody talked. All the people that were at that picnic, they didn't say fucking anything. Right? Like, whoever got their kid shot, they didn't talk. The people at the... So I know there's always people like sitting on the stoop, right? Somebody got that license plate. 100% guaranteed. Nobody talked. So the police, and I'm not trying to make this a race thing or whatever, but yeah, I did speak with like a bunch of the detectives, and they're like, basically, it's not unexpected that nobody will talk, but because the neighborhood is gentrifying, all the gentrifiers that move in without like talk. I mean, you can fill in the blanks as to like what the racial components of it are there, but all these gentrifiers have like cameras outside of their houses because their fucking packages keep getting stolen, and the new people moving in will just offer up this camera footage, and they'll talk for the most part. Like whites will talk to the police. I mean, I was talking to the fucking police. I don't want the people that shot a 1-year-old fucking baby to be out there doing more dumb shit. Like, honestly, God, I'd like to do something about it myself, honestly. But what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, sit up on my roof like a sniper and just, like it's not good, man. I don't have. But I remember, like, when I first came to the city, I took the firefighter's exam and I was gonna get in, and it wasn't really enough money. So then I thought about becoming a police officer. And fortunately, I think my mother was just like, "Hey, idiot, you're not a cop. You can't be a cop." I'm like, "Why not?" And she's like, "One, you'd be dirty. Like, you would be the dirtiest cop ever." And yeah, absolutely. Like I see like a pile of money sitting around, like yoink, nonstop. I'd be taking kickbacks, bribes, etc. I'd be like the most crooked cop that you had ever seen. Because, like at the end of the day, chaotic neutral. That's how we do. But also 99% of police work is just sitting around, like waiting in cars, fucking filling out reports. It's the most monotonous, boring bullshit ever. And she knew that, and thank God she did, because I would have quit. But yeah, anyhow, some real life devastation taking place amidst all the chaos of our story. Glad I can fucking talk about that for a second. I should have talked about that shit. I'll talk about that shit on the regular show. I'll take some calls about it, get people's ideas. But yeah, it's bad, man. I can't explain, Carl says. It's too weird. It won't make sense to you. I need to go. There we go. I don't share that kind of news with anyone I care about. I told fucking everybody about it yesterday, and then I felt bad. I'm like, why am I like bringing them this like terrible fucking news? Because it made some of them sad too. And some of them were people about who were living outside of the city, and they're afraid to come back at this point. And some of them own like property here, and have fled the city for the virus, and they don't know what to do. And the market is going to be awful. Like their mortgages are going to be underwater. So yeah, I just talked with like a bunch of my friends because like he said it definitely was a painful thing to fucking experience. And, like me feeling like sad about some kid I don't know getting shot is nothing in the face of, the mother of that child who doesn't have a child anymore. I hear about it days or weeks later, and it seems to lessen the impact. Yeah, is it like a selfish thing to tell other people about bad news? I'll tell you one thing that I learned when I was like much younger, like my first serious relationship. And I and this girl were dating, and we hadn't said that we were exclusive or anything like that. And then, like, I wound up meeting somebody, and we went out, and we wound up like sleeping together. And after I slept with this woman, I was like, I feel so bad, like because I hadn't realized that I would feel bad about it, but I felt super guilty, right? And that was when I realized like that the feelings I had for the initial person were really strong, and that I was like a fool to be out there fooling around, and I felt really bad about it, and I felt like I had to tell this woman, and she like phoned me up at some point to be like, hey, I really fucked up, like I drank a little too much and got in a situation with somebody and did something, like I regret and so forth. and at the time, and she took it like really, really hard. And then we both felt fucking terrible. And in the aftermath of it, I realized that like telling her what I had done was just to make me feel better. It wasn't to, like, there was no justice or anything like that. It would have been much smarter just not to tell her and just to, just shut up and not do that again. But in my mind, I was like, I feel so bad, like I'm such a piece of shit. I need closure. I need to be forgiven and so forth. So is it more heroic to do something terrible and to just carry that burden yourself? And at the same time, that like somebody could interpret that, and it's just you trying to get away with doing something bad, you know what I mean, and not ever face justice for your actions. But what really is justice, for the most part? We got this really strong compulsion for it, but I'm not sure that I believe that there ever is any kind of justice, or that people do feel satisfied or happy or whatever. I honestly suspect that most of the time people would be happier just not knowing that some shit like that went down, which is like the French way that they deal with affairs and so forth. Like in France, it's just assumed that you'll have, so I've been told, it's assumed that you'll probably have an affair after you've been in a long relationship, and you're just supposed to, be discreet about it and respectful to the other person for the other part. Anyhow, so what do we got right here? It's because we share this lack of closure and we hear about it so soon afterward. It ain't worth it. So Spathiwa says half drunk is the right time to share terrible stuff. Then you can get full drunk to get over it. And then Aztec Hobo says it eats you from the inside. And that's what I was feeling at that time. I was a very young man at the time. I didn't know anything about relationships. I had never, and to be 100% honest, like, there was no, I don't want it to be like that fucking Friends, we were on a break type thing, but we hadn't like officially been like, hey, like, are we seeing other people at this point and so forth? Because we were too young. But and then I found I wasn't like mad at all that she had gotten into this thing, because like whatever. But anyhow, fuck, we will never edit this story. But I think if you're like a fucking bundle of emotions, sometimes you got to talk about it. Whew. But yeah, I knew something was like super wrong yesterday when I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't even want to play video games. I just wanted to have some beers and watch The Sopranos and go to fucking bed for the most part. But I couldn't sleep, so I wound up staying up all night thinking up ideas for dungeon rooms in Rapasaurus, and I got like a few good ones. That's what I do whenever I can't sleep, is I start like imagining different weird like traps and like fucking monster encounters and so forth for this game, and I just have a ton of wacky fucking ideas. It's actually going to be like kind of a neat little game if we ever throw it together there. So Spathiwa, I should tell you that somebody made the most direct ripoff of Dream Quest that I've ever fucking seen in my life, and they thank God they like, it's like I think it's a Chinese company. It's called Night of the Full Moon, and oh my god, they ripped off like every single card. There was so little creativity used in the scene, but they got like some really good artists. And they themed it with like a Little Red Riding Hood theme, which is like, but it's, they make a lot of decisions. Like they don't have a map. They just have kind of like a branching story narrative. And it's weird how unsuccessful that game is in a lot of ways at being what Dream Quest was, like so effortlessly with its terrible art and so forth. All right, now that we've completely lost the thread, let's try to get through this chapter. I can't explain, Carl says, holding up his palms. It's too weird. It's too weird, and you won't understand. I need to go. I can't explain, Carl says, holding up his palms. I can't explain. Yeah, instead of holding up his palms, he's shaking his head. Pirating the China app. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I think it's iOS, so I don't know if you can maybe you have an maybe they have it like outside of iOS or whatever. They, I don't know. You know, they put a lot of time and effort into it. They're doing like a few things differently and so forth, but it's so derivative that like it left a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, you can check out what they've done. But yeah, really one of the things that I was like the map in Dream Quest is just much more effective for making you feel like you're in a dungeon, which I didn't really anticipate. How important it was to like have even that like awful like graph paper map that they have in Dream Quest. It's just a very different experience, unveiling like Fog of War as opposed to just like these. You'll see what I mean. Anyhow, I can't explain, Carl says, shaking his head. Too weird. You wouldn't understand. You won't understand. I need to go. Carl's voice is dry as ash. I don't know how to explain it, Carl says, shaking his head. It's just too weird. You won't understand. I need to go. Carl's voice is dry as ash. Sit down. It's a goddamn bar. You drink and you figure out how to say things. That's how it works. Sit down. So that's how he'd say it, but we're gonna write it as sit down. Sit down. It's a goddamn bar. You drink and you figure out how to say things. That's how it works. I love that. Lemon's already behind the bar, flinging oranges into the juicer. Carl rolls up the sleeping bag and sits at the bar. Flinging oranges into the juicer. Carl relents and takes a seat. Nope. Mm-hmm. Coke should indeed be capitalized, and then there we go. Oh wait, it's the Twitch fucking bot that broke. Yeah, why was I thinking the YouTube bot broke? It's there's just the Twitch bot keeps falling off. Okay, hold on. Both of those are good. Fucking Twitch chat bot. Yeah, how many times? I think I have to reset it like 2 or 3 times a week. I think it's only good for like 2 or 3 days. I'll hop in their fucking tech support and see if there's something that can be done about it. But it just feels like it's losing off to the API. Nope. Used up the last of it, hosing down. Nope. I used up the last of it hosing down this asshole. It used to say hosing down this flaming faggot. I guarantee. Oh, I think I looked this up. How you, yeah, 7-Up is how it's, lemon lime soft drink. Bib label, lithiated lemon lime soda? What? Launched 2 weeks before the Wall Street crash of 1929. God. That lemon lime drink. It contained lithium citrate, a mood-stabilizing drug, until 1948. Had lithium in it? I didn't know that. Well, a jug of concentrate. Seven Up Gold have caffeine in it? Huh. People were confused by 7-Up marketing a dark-colored soft drink with caffeine, so it was canceled. The 7-Up Gold recipe was actually an unused Dr. Pepper invention. Ice Cola, it was not popular. 7 Upside Down. So Cadbury put that out. What was in it? Pepsi Blue, Red Dr. Pepper, and Vanilla Coke. Weird. I didn't realize that there was a difference between lemon lime and lime lemon. All right, let me get the fuck out. I'm fascinated by this, all this stuff. But yeah. Here. I don't understand why soda. Seven Up is bullshit. Maybe size. Christ. What did 7-Up ever do to you, kid? Plenty. Okay, why is there no question mark there? Maybe he's been hanging around the pits too long. Kid sounds like a miniature version of Ralph Porter. Okay, Carl says. That's all Lemon can do to keep from making the get on with it motion with his fingers. So I... So... So, when I teleport, I would always feel nervous afterward. My heart would be racing, and I'd feel like I was going to throw up. That's why I had such a hard time with it at first. Okay, cool. When I jumped, it always felt a little bit like I was fixing to die. Okay. So this is just a song reference that we're throwing in here. Ugh. God, getting them comma points. What'd 7-Up ever do to you, kid? Plenty. 7-Up. You madman. So. There we go. God, fucking English spelling. Awful. Wait, you gotta dump your girl tomorrow. Are you actually dumping her, Aztec? Love these editing streams. Night all, and keep beasting at load. Well, good luck with dumping her. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a joke or not, but either way, good fucking luck, man. We'll talk about that later. Good God. Oh, wait. There's a paste bin that might be involved. That Aztec just put. Oh, it's just a recipe for chicken orzo soup. That doesn't explain what the fuck is going on. A bus driver was beaten to death after asking passengers to wear masks. Yeah, this ain't good. I don't like what's going on. It's the truth? Yeah. Shit, well, holler at me about it if you want. But, YouTube 8, Spake the Evil Ass comment? Alright, hold on. Yeah, does a Twitch chat... I'll have to take a look at... I reposted it on IRC. Let me take a look. Yeah, if that is indeed the case, I'm not surprised, man. I got some weird messages from that girl. So, good luck. Yeah, it was for Aztec. Yeah, we'll be here for you, man. Like, yeah, stay strong. Let her go. That's my advice. Yeah, she's a little too wild. Whew. Killing me here. All right, let's try to get through this chapter. So, when I first started to teleport, I would always... Like I was fixing to die. Carl pauses. Carl trails off. Lemon takes a drink from his own lemon and seltzer. Not because he's thirsty, but to remind Carl he can do the same. An old bar trick, and it works. Well, after maybe put me in the hospital, I found out why. I'm not just disappearing in one place and reappearing in another. I'm moving through another place. Moving through another, nah. I'm moving through another dimension. A place where time is frozen. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Carl takes a big gulp, no prompting needed. Like what kind of nightmare? Like... everything is huge and made of a million outlines. You leave trails of selves behind you, and perspective is broken. Trees are taller than skyscrapers, and there are monsters, hunters always after me. I like cold cock Carl. The others are silent, staring at Carl. How many brain cells did maybe put out of commission when he cold-cocked Carl? Sounds nuts, Lemon says. I know, but it's there. I used to not remember. I know, but it's there. I used to not remember. I think I was just blocking it out. Now, every time I jump, I pass through that dimension. Now I have to remember everything. Cool. Is that all? Maybe chides. No. The place I teleport through is like a hallway. One door leads to Earth. There are other doors, other worlds. I can move between them. Whoa. Yeah. Like, huh. Yeah, well, I'll have to holler at Aztec. I am like, want to make sure that dude's okay. Whew. Yeah, I'll tell you, like, now that he's probably gone, and hopefully she ain't watching the thing either. I got a little concerned when that girl kept, like, messaging me, kind of, like, unprompted out of nowhere. And I wouldn't, like, really respond to her because she's dating, like, a guy at the show, right? And, like, we're not, she and I aren't, like, homies or anything. And I don't know that we shared, like, anything in common. So I was just, like, a little, like, something's up. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she's okay, but it just kind of rubbed me like a little the wrong way. And there's this kind of like mania. And when I wouldn't respond, she would just be like, hey, hey, hey. And she kept like coming after me. And, like maybe she might have just been trying to be friendly, like a lot of people are like that. But I'm just, anytime somebody is like dating someone or whatever and is like showing like an uncommon interest in me, I kind of like, let me just ice you out a little bit right here. Because I don't want to be involved in that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that sounds kind of like pompous and vain now that I'm hearing it out of the other thing. But I felt like a little crazy wafting off of that girl. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that we're only just beginning to hear what the story is all about there. So good luck to Aztec. We are breaking up with a girl who is like that, like a little bit nuts and so forth. Not easy. As always, you're gonna get like some kind of fucking email where she details every one of the things that she thought was bad about you, or she's gonna tell all her friends some crazy shit, or something will go down. Yeah, that like was she like just she might have just been hollering at everybody, and you with those people, there's always like a little bit that they're just looking to find friends and stuff. Or T-Mux is having some kind of meltdown, but Aztec says it's not the real T-Mux. I could never get a fix on who T-Mux was, right? Because they couldn't stick to like one name, and like somebody was like faking being T-Mux. Like I could tell you like everything. Like I have a real strong conception of who Rondito is, right? Like Rondito is consistent. Rondito has hopes and dreams. He's a good chatter, right? He tell you everything about Die for IRC, right? He's a good person and he's consistent, right? T-Mux, I don't know who that fucking guy is, man. And maybe it's because people are just like impersonating him. I don't like these fucking nickname impersonators that can't maintain a consistent chat brand. It's annoying. Yeah, who would pretend to be T-Mux of all people? Yeah, like, and I guess it's like it's a sign, which is kind of useful that I should keep in mind that if people are impersonating you, you have to like as the real person like call them out and just be like, hey, this guy's fucking bullshit, and get them banned from the channel, so that there isn't like that state of confusion. Yeah, maybe we need to do more to prevent chat fraud, because honestly, like I don't care if people are duping each other, and I don't really. But if somebody is like trying to chat under another name, it's like confusing enough that I think we can just boot the impersonator for the most part. But anyhow, we're not through this chapter yet. Uh, I want. What do they say? Lemon and Maybe's glasses clack against the bar simultaneously. Why a swig of scotch? All right. I don't understand why that's uh, throwing an error, but we're gonna move on. Do we swig scotch? You do when you're fucking thinking about a nightmare realm. Uh, So I'm changing that time scale a little bit, just because like the weeks thing, it gives them like too much. There's too much crazy shit you can do in like weeks of time. I jumped in my sleep. Well, that explains why you were burnt up 1 second and healed up the next. I jumped in my sleep. I don't know where I went. I just woke. The others stare at him, agog. Alright. Let's, What are they like? Maybe asks. Very different. Also, time isn't constant between the different, planes, dimensions, whatever. Also, time isn't constant between the different dimensions. I found one world where hours will pass there, but only a few minutes elapse here on Earth. I go there when I need to rest or heal up. That explains how you were burnt up one moment and healed up the next. How come you were on fire? Lemon asks. I jumped in my sleep. I don't know where I went, but when I woke up I was on fire. I don't know where I went, but when I woke up everything hurt like hell and I panicked. Sorry about your bar. One time I woke up and there was no air. No planet. I was floating in space. No planet at all. I was floating in space. It was awful. What? I thought your eyeballs explode if you're in a vacuum. I think that's just on TV. It's a little scary. The others stare at him, agog. A little scary? You might wake up inside a star, Carl. What the fuck? How do you sleep? Pills, mostly. That shuts everyone up. Carl's empties his glass. I don't think so. I'd be afraid to try, honestly. I tried to teleport with my bicycle once. It didn't work. There isn't time. We have bigger problems. You know about the riot in Chinatown. Yeah, what the fuck is going on down there? Maybe ask. Chinatown is going to get much worse. The chance is getting stronger. What'd they say, gray dude? I don't know if that tracks. Rotten to start with, comma? Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a good comma. We're making some good progress on this. I like the change that we're making here. Mm. Rotten all along should still... Oh, yeah. I don't know if he got possessed or if he was just rotten all along and he got a lot worse. No, yeah. And we can absolutely omit that. What? Oh, I hope that didn't fuck up everything. It did. Okay, cool. How do you know all this shit, Carl? Lemon asks. Some of the worlds I've visited are similar to Earth. Not exactly the same, but pretty close. Okay, let me take a short break and then I shall return. All right. Cool. All right, so I repaired the cushion on the headphones that I use every single day, and so far it's holding up. I tried hot glue, but super glue is working okay there. So, Spathywa, if you're still out there, one of the big things I'm worried about with this chapter is that this like parallel universes shit and so forth is going too far. Like I think we're doing like, and it may not be. It may be that this is cool and it fits within the context of the story and so forth. But I want to highlight that this thing here, I worry that it's just too much like dumping weird shit on the reader and that we'll lose people on it. So keep a look at this and the rest of the Carl shit that happens here because this is where Carl's arc is meant to go. And to me, it's cool. I like this kind of shit. I love like parallel universes and fucking other dimensions and stuff like that. It really floats my boat. And we've tried to foreshadow it a little bit more in the rewrite. But I may be losing people here. So I'm, like this is supposed to be like a big cool reveal for readers. But if it doesn't track that way, then we may have to think about retooling this whole chapter. So let's finish working through it. But But yeah, so he is like, the part where he gets like clonked in the head and is like seeing these fucking weird aliens and shit like that. That's what's happening. He's like, that's like a staging ground between different dimensions, and he's actually, yeah. So then you're subscribing to a specific multiple dimension theory where there's identical worlds. I always subscribe to that theory. I'm a huge believer in fact, like pretty much every single book that I have, like Rapasaurus and so forth, like falls into that dimensional theory. Yeah, I'm like a gunslinger type, parallel universes type person. Like I've always, that's how honestly, that's how I think reality is structured. I think that every divergence in the timeline creates another identical dimension where everything is mechanically deterministic. But yeah, I'm a huge believer in that, so I'm willing to throw down on that. So we may just need to do it well, but that's something to keep in mind. I'm not oblivious to this, and it's a comment that we've gotten elsewhere. The only thing we need to worry about is to make sure we've already covered that. We'll get into that a little bit later in the chapter, but yeah, it's just something that I'm wary of, because definitely I remember getting feedback, at least from one editor who I respect, who's like, that's where you lose me. So I don't want to lose readers, and let's keep an eye on it. They're parallel worlds. Oh yeah. Alright, so let's read through. How do you know all this shit, Carl? Lemon asks. Some of the worlds I've visited are similar to Earth. Not exactly the same, but pretty close. They're parallel worlds. A lot of the same people and places, but the outcomes are different. Some of the worlds I've visited are similar to Earth. Not exactly the same, but pretty close. Those are parallel worlds. Farther out, things start to get strange, sometimes almost unrecognizable. So what I'm trying to do there is a little bit constrain the seemingly infinite number of worlds and timelines that Carl could travel to into like sort of a narrower window where he's like hitting parallel Earths from like two or within like a 2 or 3 week time span. So that he's not just like some immortal like God King flipping through all that type situation. Ones with more divergent time get strange, sometimes unrecognizable. Mother of God. How many other worlds have you visited in 2 days, Carl? Carl pulls his... Carl pulls the little notebook from his breast pocket. Carl pulls the leather notebook from his breast pocket. Each page is densely packed with notes in his minute handwriting. 123 since my last notebook got burned up. I think about 80 before that. It has been established to the reader. Way back, he pulls out his pad. But yeah, hold on. Let's my brains. So this has been established to the reader. I think it's called a pad earlier. 588. And we're not doing find and replace. That's where it is. Yep. So this is his leather notebook. And this was before he realized what was going on. Okay. And... okay. He's jotting everything down like he was some kind of detective instead of a beat cop. There we go. And then... oh, and actually, it is a leather notebook even here. So Spathy gets extra points because it's not the same notebook. The other one got burned up when he like crashed naked into the bar. So yeah, you were not only right the first time, but right the second time. Well done. I can't believe Oh, I thought I was so right. I was like, I got him, but no, it's absolutely true. It's George Washington's Notebook. I don't get it. So I don't buy him building a cabin. Do I not know that parable of Washington's ass? No, I don't know that parable at all. It's nice, very serene. I think it's an Earth that never developed animal life. The plants are beautiful. The famous artifact is George Washington's axe, sometimes my grandfather's axe, is the subject of an apocryphal story of unknown origin in which the famous artifact is still George Washington's axe, despite having both its head and handle replaced. Would have to be plants and insects, not just not necessarily the case. Even though here on Earth, there is a great deal of plant life that's completely dependent on insects, it is possible to have plants wholly untouched by insects. And in fact, we have many versions of plant life that don't require interaction with insects whatsoever here. There are a lot of like reproductive strategies with plants that don't involve pollen. But I know where you're getting at right there. But also where he describes them as nothing like what we have on Earth. It's pretty wild there. It's nice, very serene. I think it's an Earth that never developed animal life. Only plants. What if the Wuhan flu was just a random Carl Mason blipping in and out of the wet market, leaving behind his trans-dimensional flu? It's entirely possible. Hmm. Okay, so one thing that I want to do is I want to reduce um, the number of parallel universes that he's going to, because it's just too much for the reader to process, I think. Yeah, I like that change quite a bit. I also don't. The problem with like having like multiple parallels of the Earth is like, why don't you just pick and choose between like which outcome you want to have there? So I just want to make it like a little bit rarer that he's found one that you can't choose without having to get rid of the other Mason. We deal with that in a second there. I really like this in terms of like the mechanics of like the shifting through universes. I think that these are like very important distinctions to make for the reader to not be like, well, this is like a bullshit aside. So, according to Neil Stephenson's research, your system can't digest and absorb substances from another dimension. Um, yeah, I mean that's research in another way. I mean, you could get into places where there's chirality issues and so forth. Which what is it? I remember what was that story? It was like a book called Coyote. It was like an Alan Steele book. Maybe it's like Red Coyote or something like that, where the colonists, like in this generation ship, show up at this planet, and the first thing that they do is they like test the chirality, and everybody's fingers are crossed, like worried that they might have gone to a fucking world where there's organic material, but none of it is digestible. All of it is just super poisonous to everybody. What does that remind me of? Fucking. There's another one too, or where like there's some kind of antimatter fuck up or something. A lot of weird ways that this could go. Oh, it's a key plot thing in one of his novels, Anathem, right there. Yeah, I couldn't get through Anathem. Is that the one that has like the fucking mathematicians at the beginning of it? It was so boring. Yeah, like the part in like the Temple of Math or whatever. I was just like, and I got through Cryptonomicon, which is long as fuck and has many boring segments, but it was just more interesting. He's been kind of hit and miss for me. Like I thought, Read Me or Reamdy or whatever the fuck, however you pronounce that. Like I read it and I finished the thing, but at the end of it, I was like, it was like a fucking maybe a 68 or a 72 or something like that out of 100. Yeah, like I wasn't sorry I read it, but I wasn't thrilled that I read it either at the same time. Yeah, like anyhow. Speaking of books, what if we finish this chapter? I found another world that's similar to Earth. Not exactly the same, but it's close. Like a parallel world. Same people, same places, but different. They make different choices. They have different outcomes. I call that one Two York. They're about a week ahead and they're drifting further out of alignment. I like that idea of it. Ream D was pulp. Yeah, like the fucking literally like the entire thing that happens at the fucking ski lodge or whatever there. I just didn't give a fuck about any of that. I thought some of the MMO sequences were like kind of interesting and so forth, but yeah, it didn't really do it for me. Like he's a good writer, but what is it? I also didn't like Snow Crash, which is like heresy and so forth. Um, the and what it really comes down to is like if you think that the decision to have a main character named Hyro protagonist is insufferable, I don't think you'll like that book. And I found it immediately insufferable. But I did like the nuclear weapons sewed up inside of the guy and the girl with the needle in her vagina. Those were cool. But ultimately, nah, not for me. I mean, I get it was supposed to be wacky, but yeah, I guess Cryptonomicon is the only thing of his that I really enjoyed. I couldn't get through like the Diamond Age, like that whole thing, because it was like any time that like I come across steampunk, I'm like, blah. Yeah, I don't know, maybe whatever. I don't have to like every writer. I mean, yeah, no question, like, very talented writer, and Cryptonomicon was fucking amazing. But yeah, I think we're just maybe the things that we like are too different for he and I to see eye to eye. I mean, definitely a smart dude. You know, I'm not trying to trash him or anything. I just had a difficult time enjoying him. Mother of God. How many other worlds have you visited in 2 days, Carl? Carl pulls a leather notebook from his breast pocket. The pages are densely packed with notes in his minute handwriting. 23, since my last notebook got burned up, and 11 before that. Now keep in mind, it hasn't been 2 days for me. I spent a long time in Slowdown healing up after both the burn and the concussion. What's Slowtown like? Sarah asks. It's nice. It's serene. It's serene. I think it might be an Earth that never developed animal life. There are plants everywhere, and they're nothing like this world. Why is it capitalizing lilies? He had a Kickstarter disaster about some motion track swordplay or something. A game like you've never seen and can't imagine. Turns out that phrase was chosen specifically from Lovecraft, and it stood for, we can't be bothered to describe or make this game. Yeah, anytime an author is like, it's indescribable, that author is like, oh, this is hard, fuck it. Like, actually, on the topic right here, the reason why we're like adding these fire lilies. Yeah. So what it's doing there, the reason why it's doing that is it thinks that we're talking about a woman named Lily, or a trans person named Lily, or a very unlucky man named Lily. That's why it's doing that. Yeah. But it is wrong, and that is how you pluralize lilies. What do you mean if you survive? You can just disappear. No one can hurt you. Carl taps the back of his head pointedly. Mm-hmm. I'm a police officer. I swore an oath. The city needs me. Carl scowls in maybe's general direction. Wait, is there a Pitts in New York? Are we there? Sarah asks. I love To York. Yeah, so we don't want to make it seem like he's an oracle that has all the answers. And I think also specifying the one world, To York, and then there are versions of you three in New York. Okay, so I actually want to change it so that they're just like a day ahead. I really like, yeah, I love this change, honestly. I'm super happy with Just like that as a mechanic for how this works. But the timing is different. That's how I knew I needed to find you in Harlem, Sarah. Yesterday, Sarah, too, wiped out a bunch of people up there. Yesterday, Sarah, too, wiped out a bunch of people. Well done, Spathy. Yesterday, Sarah, too, wiped out a crowd of people up there. Ooh. Sarah 1 has lost all color, all power to speak. Little cliche to say that the color is draining out of someone's face. It's not the same you. She's, never mind. Carl has a far off. So there's a lot meant to be implied in that sentence right there. So I wonder if readers will pick up on what I'm getting at. Theme scene. Things are worse in New York. Even the weather. Everything's darker. Dirtier somehow. To Chance, the man in gray. You have to. To Chance, the man in gray. He's the same in both worlds. Yeah, let's take out that hypothesis right there. If you get close to him, you can hear him in your head. He does something to people, changes them. He's like walking cancer, a demon. Why don't you take him out then? Just teleport in and blow his fucking brains out. Someone stole my gun, Carl says. Someone stole my gun, Carl admonishes, his Glock still in Maybe's coat pocket. It can't be that. You could get any gun. You could just teleport into some military base, then hit him with a rocket launcher. can see me. I don't know how, but he knows I'm there. I'd love to have a good word for that grand hallway. Like Nexus or Locus. In between. Let's just call it Limbo. I like Limbo. Fuck. Mm. All right, let me try and whew. He can see me. I don't know how, but he knows I'm there. Okay. Yeah, it was important. Okay. Into York, Do chances winning. All right, let me get to that. I like 2 York. There we go. I think I missed. Hold on, we gotta go back. God, this is a difficult chapter. There's Lilies again. Ba, 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 ba. How deep are we into this? Ah, no, don't close that fucking tab. Yeah, it just loves capitalizing that fucking lilies. Yeah, I really like this change to the Carl Mason character. Yeah, I'm sorry to get distracted right there. Just some work stuff, and I don't even know how close we are to finishing this chapter. No fucking way. This is all going to get worse. Do chances the same in both worlds? It can't be that. You can get any gun you want. Why don't you teleport into a military base and shoot him with a rocket launcher? Mm-hmm. What happened to the other Sarah? The other Maybe and Lemon? Sarah asks. It didn't go well for any of them. That's why I'm asking you to get out of the city. Please. I've been here too long. I have to get back there. I'm still trying to save them. What the hell does that mean? What about the other you? Sarah demands. There is no other me, Carl says. A second later, he's gone. Ooh, I like that. What the hell does that mean? Are you ditching us? What about the other you? Sarah demands. There is no other me. A second later, he's gone. Cool. All right, so it's going to be chapter 77. I think we made it to under 100 pages left. Long-ass chapter, man. Yeah, so that's chapter 76 right there. And it's not even a long-ass chapter. This is like under 2,000 words. This is 1,400 words, I think. I really, 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 really like the changes that we made to that. Both because we're like limiting the scope of what Carl can do. We're adding some specifics. So like the Slow Town. Now, just the description of that, I want to go see fucking Slow Town. The fire lilies, like catching the sun. I like maybe suggestion of a fucking rocket launcher. Oh, it's like 1,998 words. This is us picking up steam. So I think it slightly needs a second pass. Oh, and God, we better have done fucking. Oh, I didn't put the time for the last few days. No. Yeah, days 78, 79, 81. That's annoying. Well, we can go back to the days off of YouTube, but why did I stop putting in the time? It's important. All right. Yeah. So it doesn't need like a huge second pass, but I think some of the language can be cleaned up. And we did enough rewriting that I'm going to include it as a quick second pass. It's a good chapter, but it's not as good as it could be. So where does that put us at? Oh, I've been waiting for this fucking day. So General Gary. So 591 out of, so less than 100 pages left. We have been working so hard. Just shout out to everybody, Big Spathywa up in this chat. You have been working on this for so long and working so hard, and we're going to make it, really and truly. The vanishing poop. What? I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. All right. But yeah, let me get to work on my other job. Oh, and let's hop to it. Later, y'all.